You found love again. You married, you blended two families and built something new. Without realizing it, you also built the single most dangerous setup in all of estate planning. A new spouse on one side, adult children on the other, and a Florida law sitting quietly in the middle, ready to turn them against each other the moment that you're gone. Now in this video, I'll explain why second marriages with adult children produce more estate fights than almost any other situation. And by the end of this video, you'll learn the two laws that blow these plans apart and the structure that protects everyone you love at the same time. All right, let's dive into this one. I'm Santiago Cueto, board-certified international law expert and best-selling author based right here in Miami, Florida. Now, in nearly 30 years of practice, I've seen those blended family fights destroy relationships that took decades to build, and the worst part is how preventable they are. Now, let me explain why this situation is so explosive. In a traditional family, the spouse and the children usually want the same thing. They're protecting each other. In a blended family, the new spouse and the adult children often want opposite things. The spouse wants security, and the children want their inheritance. And when you die, those two goals collide head on. I call that the loyalty split. Your heart is split between the person you married and the children you raised. The problem is that most estate plans force a choice between them, and a forced choice is the beginning of a war. But the deeper danger isn't the emotion, it's the law most people have never heard of. Here's the law that ambushes blended families in Florida. You cannot disinherit your spouse. Even if your will leaves your new spouse nothing, Florida gives that spouse the right to claim a share of your estate anyway. It's called the elective share, and it is equal to 30% of what the law calls your elective estate. Now read that again, 30% regardless of what your will says. So imagine this. A man remarries at 60. He wants everything to go to his 3 children from his first marriage. He writes a will that says exactly that. He dies believing the kids are protected. Then his surviving spouse exercises the elective share, and 30% of the estate is pulled away from his children by law, no matter what the will demanded. I call that the Disinheritance Illusion. You think you decided where everything goes. The law quietly overrode you. And you might be thinking, well, fine, then I'll leave everything to my spouse and trust them to pass it to my kids later on. Well, stay with me, because that's the trap that destroys most families. There's a second Florida law waiting in blended families, and it lives in your home. Florida has powerful protections for homestead property and for a surviving spouse's rights in that property. When you have descendants, your homestead does not simply pass however you wrote it. The law can give your surviving spouse a life estate in the home, or your spouse can elect a 1/2 interest in it. Your children may end up owning the house jointly with your new spouse, tied together for years, neither side able to move on. I call that the homestead time bomb. Two parties who don't trust each other, forced to share the most emotional assets in the entire estate. Few things produce uglier litigation in this state than a fight over homestead property. Now, if this is hitting close to home, hit that like button, subscribe to this channel. I break down Florida estate law for families exactly like yours, so you can protect everyone before a law forces a fight. Now let me show you the structure that solves all of this. The mistake almost everyone makes is treating this as a choice, spouse or children. You don't have to choose. You can take care of both in sequence with the right structure. The tool that does this is often a marital trust, sometimes called a QTIP, a Q-tip. Now here's the idea in plain language. You have assets in a trust that supports your surviving spouse for the rest of their life. Your spouse is cared for. They have income. They have security. But when your spouse passes, whatever remains goes to your children exactly as you intended. Your spouse cannot redirect it to someone else. And I call that the bridge. It bridges the gap between protecting your spouse now and protecting your children later. No one is disinherited. No one is left to trust a promise that might not be kept. The second piece is a marital agreement. A prenuptial or a postnuptial agreement can include a valid waiver of the elective share. This is the one clean way Florida allows you to override that 30% rule. Without it, the law controls. With it, your plan controls. That single document diffuses a disinheritance illusion at the source. And the third piece is addressing the homestead head on, in writing, with planning built around Florida's rules instead of crashing into them by accident. When the home is handled on purpose, the homestead time bomb never goes off. Now there's one more step, and it costs nothing. You talk to your spouse and your children while you're alive. You tell them the plan. You explain that the spouse is cared for and the children are protected. The fights in these families are almost never really about money. They're about feeling cut out, feeling surprised, feeling like the other side won. Take away the surprise and you take away most of the fight. So let's bring it all home. A second marriage with adult children is the most fight-prone setup in estate planning because Florida's elective share and homestead laws can override your wishes entirely. Without a plan, you get the disinheritance illusion and the homestead time bomb. With a marital trust, a valid waiver, with an honest conversation, you protect your spouse and your children at the same time. The families who build the bridge stay families. The families who leave it to the law end up in court, divided forever. You get to decide which one yours become. If this video helped you see the risk in your own blended family, hit that like button, subscribe to this channel so you never miss a new video. Share it with someone navigating a second marriage, and drop your questions in the comments. I'm Santiago Cueto, your Florida business attorney. Be sure to watch more of my videos right here.